Welcome back to the analyst desk, composed of two very wonderful people, me and Draz. Probably the one more wonderful, Draz. Please introduce us. What's the state of the game right now?
Yeah, just to add to that, I don't think I'm any more wonderful than you, Quicksand. You're a
Aw.
lovely, wonderful person, and I don't think you should discredit yourself like that. But the state of the game now is a 1-1, kind of a best of three, I guess. So anyone's game, anyone can take this, and chat's gonna give me shit for saying this again. But I think Revolt have the advantage. It is just about how GGG takes this game away. They have had two games to kind of get a feel for Revolt. They've had two games to kind of devise up a strategy, see what works, see what doesn't. If they know, for example, that Juco is going to kind of try and push leads and take risks and make mistakes, they can now come into this game with a strategy around that, because that's what he's done in the both these last games. They got lucky on the misplay that he had made and capitalized off the top of it. But if they can pinpoint that and force it to happen again, then this game can be in their hands.
And guess what? Predictions are up. Go, 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 quick. Gamble all your points right now. If you're not all inning, you're not betting enough, okay? But personally, with my 1,000 points, I wish I could bet, but I have to stay impartial. Okay, just as you keep talking, I'm just going to keep staying impartial right now.
uh, while we wait for this game to get out of the way, I do want to put my prediction in. I'm not going to put points in, but I'm going to give my prediction.
No,
I
no, of course not.
I think I'm gonna go against my words here. I think GGG have a slightly higher chance at winning this game.
Really? Wow.
I
Okay.
do. I think, and the reason I'm going to give them the advantage here is because when you're in a best of three and you lose the first game and you can get enough momentum to win the second game, even if it was, because of a mistake that was made, regardless of the reason, you've won that second game now. You go into game three going, oh, we can win this. We're not behind. We don't have to worry as much. And you've got Revolt who have gone, wow, we played two really good games, but we're
Yep.
still here struggling for that third game. And I think GGG just needs to come up with a plan, and I think they should be able to execute it a lot easier than Revolt would have time executing their plan.
I think that makes sense. But well, personally, as I explained this point, Draz, you can go make sure you don't accidentally spend your channel points to predict. And yeah, look, personally, I think you're on the right track. I think that momentum is going to make this game a lot closer than it should be. But from that first game, and even the start of the second game, Revolt wrangled control. They didn't even wrangle, bro. They kind of just like walked in and took control. Like it certainly has been possible for Triple G to put up a fight, but Revolt have been so prominent in their pressure that I think that if they can do it again and not accidentally run it down, then they should keep in control of this game. But then does bring in the factor of their mentality, of how they feel like this game is going, because a tempo, momentum, all these crazy words that actually feel like they don't make any sense. Basically, Triple G won the last game, so surely they feel like they can win the next game. We're in a pretty interesting spot where I think it really can go either way. Our draft should be just around the corner. As uh, I mean, do you think we're going to see a Stylus ban as we come in, or at least a Fiora ban, especially after the trauma from last game?
You know, I think it makes sense to ban the Silas. I don't think it makes sense to ban the Fiora. I think
Okay.
you go back to the drawing board and you just tell yourself, ignore Fiora, she is not a threat, and you don't have to worry about her because she's not a threat. The second you tell yourself this Fiora is a threat, she becomes 10 times more threatening. And that's the mistake that I think was made in game two. And that's a very easy fix for game three is let them pick it again. Show them you know how to play against it this time. Show them you've learned from your mistakes. If you haven't learned from your mistakes, ban it, or if you let it through, you're gone. But I think it's a very easy fix that can be implemented. And if you think that the GG is definitely going to pick it up, you can shoehorn them into that pick and then play around it.
Oh, shoehorn them. That's a nice word. Can you give me the Webster definition for that one, please?
I couldn't give you the Webster definition, but
Oh,
at least
oh,
from my understanding, let's hope I've used the word correctly. You're pretty much just forcing someone into something. You're setting it up
okay.
for them. You're putting it on a pedestal. Here you go. Come and take this. We want you to take it. And so
Okay.
if that
Okay.
does happen, and they decide to actually play against it properly this time, I think they've given themselves an advantage more than they have a disadvantage.
Well, it looks like we've learned more than just League of Legends tonight. Thank you, Draz, for blessing us with a little bit of knowledge about what shoehorning is. And perhaps we're going to see that Triple G is shoehorned to ban Silas away this game. Did I use it right?
Yeah, look, decent attempt. It can be
Okay.
used there. Was a little bit distracted from the chat with. I think I got a little. I think I got a little bit of a fan in the chat. We take that.
Aw.
Love that. That's awesome. Uh, but
Yeah, don't worry.
into the game here. We're looking picks and bans. Very similar. They did decide to just ban out the Fiora. So maybe they're not confident. Maybe they're sitting there going, Juko, you can't go and fight the Fiora when she's in a side lane, and he's gone. Sorry, have to do it. So they banned it out. Nonetheless, bans very similar. We're seeing two specific champs come through from previous games, which is Fiora, and then, of course, that very, very scary Lissandra.
And I think I got to agree with the person in chat as well, saying you're very well spoken. I'm very excited to hear some vocabulary come out of you today. Maybe while I'm speaking, you got to hit me with another crazy word, okay? On the other side of this, on the other side of the sentence, Lissandra coming out on a ban as well. Which actually, just to clarify, in case anyone's head's in a twist, the sides actually have swapped over.
Yeah.
So Puppy
Good
is
point.
picking, which means that Triple G is on the red side. So the Lissandra ban still they're quaking in their boots from just before that. Sejuani not being banned out this time, and that means that they're gonna have her as a jungler. I don't know. Is her being played top lane still a thing?
I look, honestly, I think it's going to come out for the jungle. I don't know if you've paid enough attention to the name coming out from their jungler, but I don't recall exactly what it is. I'm pretty sure it is a direct Sejuani reference. So yeah, there's that. I'm imagining a Sejuani main in the jungle, and you know what? We can confirm that because I do have the tabs open.
Oh wow!
Bristle Rider right there has played the most Sejuani this season of all of his champions.
Okay, there we go. Sejuani let through the draft and picked up. We've got that's a draft on the blue side, man. I've never seen like they've really swayed away from what they've been playing recently. We've seen the Jinx being locked in again, but three brand new champions here for the Revolt: a Vladimir, and then a Renata being paired with a Varus too. How does that? I swear I've never seen that pairing before.
It's a really good question, actually. I don't know if I've seen the pairing come out a whole lot before, but I think picking the Renata into... Sorry, let me just confirm here. So Vlad was first pick, Sejuani Jinx. I think Renata makes sense. Renata's a very scary champion up against a Jinx, because you just make that Jinx turn around and hit all of her teammates, and especially if she's got rockets, if she's got Runen, she's a threat. So I like the Renata pick. I don't know how it pairs with Varus, but I guess we're going to find out. Yuumi, on the other hand, we've seen what it can do. It is very scary, and I think with the Jinx, it makes a little bit more sense than it did with Zeri.
Mm-hmm. By the way, this will happen while I'm casting. Look, I keep calling Renata's ult Violent Overhaul for some reason, even though it's Hostile Takeover. So I'm just going to warn everyone in advance. If that's what I say, that's what I mean. I've just been like saying it by accident when I've been watching the LEC recently. Oh, actually, Draz, do you ever watch the LEC?
Look, very, very occasionally, not often enough to probably get any reference or point you're going to make. But
okay,
you know, if I pop on the Twitch and I see that LEC, LCO, whatever's on, I might pop in, watch a game or so. I am a very busy man, so unfortunately, I don't get to sit there and watch them weekly as I would like to. I mean, I guess daily in some senses, but I pop in from time to time.
Of course, please. Too busy reading dictionaries and increasing your vocabulary. Look, I just need to put it out there because I haven't had anyone to talk to about. But I'm such a big BDS fan. That just rung a bell in my head. Anyways, moving on from BDS, we get to have our second round of bans come through. Swain and Vex being forced out on one side, with Kled still being banned out and Mordekaiser as well. As our top lanes have been shafted to last pick pretty much every single game we've seen so far. Now Echo getting locked in perhaps as a mid laner, or we're seeing a bit of a shift around with Echo in the jungle and Sejuani topside. Draz, how do you think they're going to bounce around with that?
I still think it's definitely Sejuani jungle. I think Bristle Rider would be extremely upset if they got the Sejuani pick through for the third game and then it went to their top laner. So I don't think he'd let that happen even if it did make more sense. But look, the Echo, it could be coming out for mid. It does make more sense to put the Echo jungle and maybe have the Sedge top, to be honest. I don't see it being a reality. And we'll find out with the last pick whether it is a top laner or a mid laner. Udyr, though, a seriously different draft coming out from this team over here. So again, remember, sides have swapped. So we now have Revolt on the left side, on the blue side here. But every single champion is an entirely different champion to what's been played already.
And not just that, but almost every single champion, we haven't been seeing much in high level meta, I don't think, besides Nah. I mean, and Aatrox now being locked in to face up against the Nah. This is a top match I'm really curious about because I've seen Nah being chosen into Cassante a lot, which is kind of like what every top matchup has been that I've watched. But a Nah Aatrox matchup, I don't know if you're going to be able to break this one down, Draz, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Whoa, yeah, put me on the spot there because I
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
don't know the matchup a
yeah.
whole lot
I
myself. I
sorry,
think
mate.
both Gnar and Aatrox are a couple of specialty champions almost. When Aatrox is in meta, he does get picked up a fair bit. But other than that, Gnar and Aatrox are generally played by Gnar and Aatrox mains, one tricks, or people who just love to have a little bit of a good time because they are fun champions. That being said, I think Gnar provides a lot more in team fights and a lot more to his team. However, Aatrox I can see as being a little bit more of a no. You know what? I take that back. I don't think Aatrox really makes a lot of sense. They have damage from Echo and Jinx. They have Yuumi as an enchanter. They have Sejuani for lockdown and peel, and I just don't think the Aatrox makes nearly as much sense as this now does. So when it comes to the lane, I couldn't tell you too much, but I do like the pick coming out from Revolt a little bit better.
And I see people talking about Engage perhaps coming in the chat as well. The engage is fairly interesting from both sides. I think Sejuani has really strong engage, and then Echo kind of backs it up. Aatrox can just walk in if he wants to as well. But having Udyr, Na, Varus, and Renata as tools to start a fight with and then continue to lock down the enemy,
Mhm.
crowd control feels like it's fairly balanced out right now.
There's a fair amount of balance in crowd control. If the Yuumi still had the root on her ult, I'd say that that's looking pretty scary with the Sejuani, with the Aatrox, with the Echo. Many ways to get in, but with the changes coming out, I think that team comp does fall behind just a little bit. I'm not saying that this is a heavily one Revolt draft. In fact, I do think it's pretty even, but if I had to give it to someone, it's a 51-49 split to Revolt.
And apparently the other game that's being played right now as well, and there's heaps of games being played right now. Actually, maybe I'll take this moment to quickly just refresh the format of how the tournament's going to go. So right now we're covering the MCOM Iron to Plat tournament, of course, and it's played in a double round robin over 5 weeks in 2 groups, which means they split up into Group A and Group B, and then everyone gets a chance to play each other at least twice, and I think only twice for everyone. And then the top teams from there will move on to an elimination bracket. So everyone plays every single week. So there's like 40 matches going. Okay, maybe not that many. But there's a couple other matches going on at the same time, and this is probably one of the few that we've had. Oh my god, there's a graphic. Okay, let me just pull up. Is it shown on Discord? Okay, I'll look at it from the stream. So this is what we're split up to right now. We have Revolt and Triple G sitting in Group B with Vespertine. Draz, obviously you got no bias right now. Weekend Warriors, Jade, and Starcasters sitting in Group B, while the other match going on, which was mentioned earlier in chat, is Knights, Cavalry, Stormwolves, Ches Professional, Triple G, 2 of them, the Conquerors and the Stallions, featured in Group A as well.
Yeah, so there is multiple games going on. Realistically speaking, looking at this here, we have 12 teams, which means there should be 6 matches going on at any given time. I do believe games are played from, I could be wrong in saying this, but I believe all games are played at the same time. So Group A and Group B all playing right now. Each side has 3 games playing. So a lot of matches happening. That's what Quicksand was referring to. There's things going on here, there, and everywhere. But what we are focusing on tonight is going to be GGG BALHE against Revolt, and we're getting ready for game 3, Quicksand.
We are. But to get ready for that, I will have to go and I don't know, what's an activity you do when you get ready for something? I'm gonna have to go brush my hair. So while we go brush our hair, everyone else go brush your hair too. It's looking a little frayed at the ends, but otherwise looking fantastic. Not to you, Draz. Sorry, I was talking about the audience. We'll see you on the other side of this draft. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful time brushing your hair. You over there, mate, you did a bloody good job, but I think you might have missed your frayed ends. Look, everyone's done quite a good job, but if you do need some hair brushing after the game, feel free to let me know. I have brushed my dog's hair like multiple times a week for a good while, so I would say I'm quite the expert. Draz, do you have a pet that you might have to be brushing its hair daily, or are you maybe you're a cat kind of guy? Or please indulge me before I make too many assumptions.
I am a dog guy. I don't
Okay,
brush
good,
my
good.
dogs.
Sorry
They're
for that
not.
assumption then.
No, that's okay. They're not directly my dogs. But there are a lot of them, unfortunately. And I get very sick of them. So very glad that I don't have to brush them, or I'd be there for about 4 hours a day. So we keep away from that.
Good call. And it looks like these guys have brushed up on their skills just enough, and we may be looking as fancy as we possibly can tonight at our third game in our best of three. We did have a beautiful graphic just up earlier. Sorry, we have a beautiful graphic displaying the best of three stats, which, if you couldn't work out from now, the fact that we're on a third game means that it's 1-1 to both. We saw Revolt taking away the very first game by a fairly wide margin, and in the second game, Triple G won, but Revolt had such a strong start, which Triple G kind of tore away from them and used a Fiora in the top lane to bring the game back. So Puppey probably on his high horse right now, and fairly so, while Juco was probably the player to keep your eyes out for in that first game, as well as out west. We now turn our eyes down to the bot lane. We mentioned we hadn't seen this matchup before. Sorry, not this matchup, this duo between Varus and Renata. But from what I've heard in the meantime of seeing that draft, is it actually quite strong. I don't know how this bot lane is going to go.
Yeah, I can understand why it's quite strong. The concern I have is that I spoke about how strong Renata can be against a Jinx, right? Really, that's only in team fights, because what you're doing is you're leaning into Yuumi, who, by the way, can't auto attack while attached. So there's really nothing that ult's going to do in the laning phase, which might make things a little bit harder for a Revolt over here.
That's actually a really good pickup too. I mean, it kind of just is more of a lockdown or a stun here for Stewie as Jay Donis. I'm not sure how. I don't think Yuumi will get affected by the CC. Does Yuumi get affected by CC when she's attached to someone? I don't think so, right?
No, she generally can't be hit by that. We'll have to wait and see, but I don't think it's really going to do much to her. Jinx is going to just start autoing minions, and that's about it.
Just giving a hand CSing. That's a respect for that. Yeah.
Exactly. So not very scary in laning phase. I think Varus as a whole, though, is still a very scary champion. Can get picks, and a little bit of damage and assistance coming out from the Renata could be all they really need in the laning phase.
And showing the wave topside is showing a little bit of dominance over Puppey here. And also swiftly dodging his Qs as a gank comes through. Bristle Rider wants to shut down with Jay, but well, there's no shutdown to pick up in the first place. And Varus has not only staved off the gank, but actually taken down Bristle Rider a fair chunk as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm actually happy to see that roam come out from Jay and Bristle Rider together. When you're playing Echo in the mid lane, you do kind of want to be roaming, right? That is where his advantages are. But you know what you've just done? You've again given Juco a massive lead in lane. He is now double your CS. You probably have no choice but to wrap around, lose a little bit more of that CS from the wave on the tower, and maybe even risk losing a little bit of health. He hasn't put himself in a great position. I like the attempt. I like the play. I think it was the wrong time.
I'm pretty much on the same page. Jay is starting to realize that he had quite a lack of influence last game, so to see him try and reprimand that is pretty handy. The fact that his team won last game too is probably very helpful in reinforcing that. I gotta say, I actually really like this Gnar skin. He's not gonna get a chance to go big. Maybe I'm throwing out compliments too early, and it looks like it's time to get your money up, not your funny up. I don't know if you've heard that phrase before, Draz, but maybe drip isn't everything. As Puppey takes away a kill on Vital, despite Vital maybe coming to the fight a little bit better dressed.
Look, I don't know. I'm a material guy myself. I do wear expensive clothes. I love my shoes. So I think drip is everything, and I think maybe Gnar just doesn't know how to pull it off.
Ah, that's it. Of course. I mean, skins equals wins. That's a simple fact that everyone knows. Perhaps more propagated in first-person shooters, but Gnar, maybe he'll come to the battle slightly better dressed. He must have forgotten to brush his hair. That was it. I reminded everyone to do it.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of hair to brush too, so a very easy mistake to make. Maybe you have to give him some
Mega Gnar or like a little Gnar.
Oh, that's a good question. I think if he did it little Gnar, it would just blow out of proportion when he went Mega Gnar, so it wouldn't really work.
Oh, so you think he has to do it Mega Gnar?
Yeah, and then it'll just kind of like be tame when it comes out. Look at that; it's a little bit fluffy. It's a little bit all over the place.
Yeah. Okay. I like that observation. I think it makes sense. Oh, Oh, Bristle Rider's coming down on Juco, who doesn't have much of an escape mechanism. Ult might be up, but he's going to turn into a Vortex. I thought it was a pool of blood, guys. Begins equals wins, I guess.
He also has that drip, but you know what? Credit where credit's due. Puppey has that drip in the top lane too, and they're going to start a fight over it.
Vital goes big as well, and he just doesn't get the stun when throwing Puppey against the wall, which is really unfortunate. And Megan are about to wear off. Puppey might start looking for something here if Vital's up too far. Jay wants to dive here on Juco. The flash is going to come down into the orb. The stun doesn't come, but has the ult to get out.
Props to Jay, playing the lane really well, putting that pressure down despite being behind on CS, although Juco hasn't backed yet, hasn't really bought anything, and is still just sitting on his Dark Seal refillable that he started the game with. But, yeah, despite the CS disadvantage, he's come into lane and he's shown he's not really here to play around this time. He came with a little bit more of an aggressive champion, and he's going to try and push a lead.
And I'm excited to see that, especially for the side of Triple G, as they were unable to take a strong lead earlier in the last game. Out west, maybe quite out here though, has Lightless to back them up, not level 6 yet, so can't cease and desist them with their ult just yet. The urge to call it Violent Overhaul is getting too strong. No, what's the real name, Draz? I'm forgetting already.
Takeover.
Oh my god, help. Whenever she, okay, do me a favor, when she uses Hostile Takeover, say Hostile Takeover really loudly.
Okay, alright, we got that. I'll do you that favor. I'll keep that one in mind.
So now that we had that out of the way, Lightless is hanging around on the other side of the wall, getting caught in the Jinx E, not something they expected, and the W isn't enough to keep them alive. Lightless taken down in the face of the dragon as Vital and Puppey. Oh, Puppey is going to go Demon. And Vital just shrunk down. This fight should be in Puppey's hands. Vital, can he make it away? Tries to escape vision in the bush, and it's almost
very
enough.
Close.
Yeah, that auto attack cancel. My heart was like, but
yeah, this is going how I kind of thought it might. I don't want to take credit and say like I knew GGG was going to get the lead here, but we did talk about obviously using momentum, winning game 2, knowing that you now have to just win this one game and bring the momentum into it. And I'm glad to see proactive plays. Puppey did come out of last game with a little bit more confidence, playing a champ that I think can do just a little bit more than Fiora, so he has the opportunity to actually make those proactive plays. You got Jay on a champion who can roam around and be a menace, and you know what, he's being a menace just in lane even. So I'm liking what GGG brings to the table at the moment.
And they put themselves at a, I'm going to say, unexpected start based on their performance in the last 2 games. They've been able to put themselves ahead, which, seeing their performance from last game, after they got ahead, I am a little bit worried for Revolt. Triple G, when they can find the lead over Revolt, have been able to hold themselves at a high standard in the game, so perhaps this is exactly the start they need, especially with the fact that Puppey is ahead again. I think Vital is pretty unhappy about that.
Yeah, the one thing to note though, so ahead in a sense, ahead in kills, ahead in proactivity, however, 30 CS down for the ADC, 20 CS down for the mid laner, CS down for the top laner, CS down for the jungler. Gold is actually going to Revolt here.
That's right, and at least in the top lane, Puppey might be dominating in both, but well, like 5 CS, okay. But dominating almost all in CS. He's going to get a gank here now from Bristle. Bristle can't catch up fast enough, has the ult in hand to get the freeze when needed. Vital now shrunk down, frozen in place, and Puppey's going to pick off number 3.
Yeah, put the kills on Puppey. You've seen Puppey knows what to do with them, but that cleanse comes out, and very well played there from Stewie. Generally speaking, I think GGG knows what they need to do, and they're trying everything they can to execute it. They're faltering a little bit on certain parts of the map, falling behind in CS, not having the lane pro that they might necessarily want, but they know what their goal is, and they seem to be doing that rather well.
Still yet a kill to be picked up, but if you take a look at the gold count, it's actually still exactly the same, which shows the impact of how this farming is going. They have lost the first objective, which I don't think we saw in the last 2 games as well. We saw Revolt being very, very efficient and constantly picking up those dragons, and it's what may have given them a route back into last game, but they just couldn't secure it. Now, out west wants to contest the Rift Herald. Picked up, smited down as Puppey is... He's AFKing?
Puppey is indeed AFK, and the game's been paused. Yeah, we can see... Well, you guys can't see, but I can see from the chat there that there is a bit of a DC that came through. not what you want to see.
Thought what he was doing was mad bait.
Yeah, that is really unfortunate in the chat. You are 100% correct. Extremely unfortunate. That sucks. Yeah. What's your thoughts on that, Quicksand? That was really unfortunate.
My thoughts on DCing? Well, look, mate, it's not an OCE tournament with added pause. So I was actually getting a little bit worried that we might be getting good enough and not pausing the game. But it warms my heart to see that we're still the same OCE as we've always been. But the fact that that's the first kill in the hands of Revolt just because Puppy couldn't assist, especially the 3-0 Puppy. I mean, you can't really do much about this, right? There's no, like, chrono break to send us back, like, 5 seconds.
There's an echo, but it's not going to send the game back 5 seconds, unfortunately. I think we are potentially going to get into game shortly. I do see R coming up in the chat and an attempt to unpause. Now, for everyone watching at home, in case you haven't seen this happen before, there probably will be a freeze. That's okay. We'll get through it. It'll continue as normal. We'll all still be going and having some fun. So don't worry about that. We'll try our best here. When that finally decides to resume, because it is having an issue.
Now, hopefully once it was... There we go, okay. We're getting eyes back into the game. A Puppy immediately with the reconnect is going to start the fight. Hasn't... Oh, did he go demon mode at the end of that fight before he died?
He did pop it towards the end of the fight, yeah. So you can see it's on cooldown. He did try, an attempt was made. That was a shutdown, unfortunately. Give it over to Udir, who is now 2-0. Probably the worst person to give the kills to. Well, I mean, I guess the best person to give the kills to if you're on Revolt, because what that's going to do for them is let them kind of, I guess, push leads, because Udir is scary. He can be everywhere and anywhere at the same time, and that might be Revolt's way back in. They're actually ahead in gold now, too.
You've got to feel for Triple G here, man. That's such a... there's nothing you can do about it, but it's such an unfortunate predicament to be in. And no cleanse on hand this time means the root is going to lock Stewie down. Forced to flash away. Luckily, a second summoner spell was available. And the heal from Yuumi makes sure that Jinx stays alive. But Daiko goes down. Sorry, Juko goes down. And that means Out West, despite being up a couple kills, couldn't make a change there, despite coming in 2 kills up.
Yeah, it was a little bit unfortunate. He did, I guess, kind of come in a little bit too late, though, would be the big problem. And Juko has fallen behind. He is still ahead in gold, being nearly 40 CS up over his laner, though, and has an assist in the bag as well. Bristle Rider, though, roaming down.
Can Triple G keep themselves in this game through some ganks? A flash forward from Bristle, and then the hostile takeover. Oh, there it is. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, the stun comes down on Stewie, and Yumi's going to have to quickly reattach, but can't get on in time. And okay, I'm surprised to see that the Yuumi didn't get a chance to reattach to Bristle there, but looks like Bristle is going to be chilling under the turret. Surely that wasn't another DC, right? That was just kind of a...
That was just a bit of an unfortunate take my hand off the keyboard. It's over. GG. Let's type FF in the chat. Oh, it's not 15 minutes yet. Never mind.
No.
Oh, pull back in the top lane, and Bristle in a bit of trouble here.
Staying up here, doesn't have ult in hand, and yeah, a really successful and effective dive. Not only hands another kill over to the Udyr, the Virus up 2 kills now as well, but the Dragon encased in their hands as well for a second. Oh, sorry. This will be their first objective secured that they managed to take away here from Triple G. Juko walking up on Jay now. That's a strong tower dive, committing deep. And Jay gets the shield around from the W. Juko, can he hold strong? The Q's just enough to restore enough health to stay in the fight and take the kill.
Credit where credit's due. Came in with a negative KDA and went, no, this is still my lane. And gave him a bit of a smackdown. He is a mythic advantage and has a slightly magical footwear, so he kind of has the advantage item-wise. He's had the advantage the last 2 games lane-wise, and didn't want to give that up just yet. Ghost has popped, though, to try and get away from this. Oh!
Juko now breaking the land speed world record. He's unfortunately caught in the pit with no way over. There's no flash up, and it looks like the dive may have been a bit too ambitious, catching Juko in just the wrong spot.
Yeah, that did. Unfortunately, Juko fell, but very scary nonetheless, showing what he's capable of. Has now picked up his tier 2 boots as well. I want to move my focus down to Pretentious, who Does miss the ult.
Dewey locked down, pretentious now. There's no chance to get away. And it looks like Yumi's slow isn't enough to give it over to anybody else. Gets the reattach this time. Bristle shouldn't be the victim of a dive. Does have the ult up in case it becomes necessary.
Oh, Puppy, though. Oh, the ult's whipped.
Gets a chance to go off. Lightless in the wrong place as Poppy now completely out of position. Out west now, he's just in the middle of fight, rampaging between everybody, and with Pretentious in the back seat, I mean, there was pretty much nothing that Bristle could do.
No, and moving back to the point that I made when Pretentious was 2-0 is moving focus to Pretentious. 2-0 on a Varus is scary. 5-0 on a Varus is absolutely terrifying. And we're going to see why as this game continues on, because the game has just been completely flipped on its head. And it's honestly the opposite of what we've seen for the rest of the night. It's been Revolt taking the lead early and then falling behind, I guess, in game 2. But GGG's never really had the lead to start the game. Now we've seen that happen, and Revolt went, nope, we're not letting this continue. And now they're up 16 goals.
And also a really unfortunate usage of Cleanse there. I'm not sure what Stewie was looking for. Maybe cleansing himself of any responsibility for dying there, but I don't know. I think
it was an attempt to cleanse the Pretentious Varus ult, but the Varus ult didn't even connect.
Yeah, okay. It was just unfortunate mistiming, and in the end, the cleanse should be up before any major objectives, so I'm not too worried, at least for Stewie's sake. As Puppy and Vital are going to go at it here, and Vital may be taking the upper hand in this fight, but Puppy has the tower on his side. Vital shrinking down, and now the World Ender in the hands of Aatrox. Sejuani ready to back them up as well. Vital has to flash. And that's all. The only prize that Bristle will receive for ganking that lane.
Yeah, not really what they need when they're this far behind. He does roam up and try and get something, but now it's going to be a 4-man dive onto Puppy. I don't think he has a chance of getting away here.
World Ender still in hand, and Puppy does have an Eclipse as well as Ninja Tabi. So the healing needs to come through here. The hostile takeover. Oh, Puppy's going to get caught in the edge of it, but it wears off fast enough that they don't have to worry about the dive. Now Juko chasing down Jay. Jay's going to try to make a break for it. And our top laners have successfully made it away.
That they have, and we do see Jinx at least pushing in the mid lane, picking up that tower bounty and the first tower for her team. Herald on the board though, so the bounty not going to be given over for that one as Revolt look to pick this up here. And what this really means is that they're going to be able to push this lead even further. They're going to be able to put this Herald down potentially as Baron spawns, because they do kind of have that time frame. And Jinx is just
that's a big pull down on Stewie.
Oh
my god!
And Juko's going to pick that one up.
Stewie off the map! Blown up by Juko, who realizes they're not too overeager. And Bristle's forced to run away from the Vampire instead of trying to send him into a coffin. The Rift Herald gets another charge off here into the tower. Sorry, it's probably the first charge off here. Into the tower as Bristle forced back. They're going to find a third charge here out on the Herald, straight into the tower, and it's done more than enough damage.
It has, and what are you? I don't want to say it. What are your thoughts on this game here, Quicksand? How's the rest of the game?
Thoughts on the game? I wish Alistar was being played right now.
I wonder if that would really make the difference, though.
It would. Whoever played Alistar would win this game automatically. On the other hand, the disconnect was really unfortunate, but it's also started to... I mean, it pretty much did just hand the game over to the Wyverns. So they got that big shutdown on Aatrox, which then let Out West scale out of control. And Puppy, despite being 4-2, hasn't been able to make that much of a visible impact since then. So it's pretty much Out West spreading across the map. Bristle trying really hard to do something as Juko making a breakaway. Has Jay and Bristle on his tail. The heal won't be enough, and they do get the slay on the Vampire. Stake through a heart. Maybe Triple G can climb the way back into it, but I'm quite sympathetic with them, the conditions they're in right now.
Yeah, it's a tough one. So to climb back into this, a couple of things need to happen. First off, Jinx needs to come online. Mind you, she's 0-3 and nearly a whole item down. Actually, probably a full item down when you look at the fact that Varus has also completed boots. So she's behind a lot. 25 CS down, items down, kills down. And she's the hyper carry, realistically. That also now means that Yuumi isn't a champion because Yuumi has to be attached to Jinx. That's who she's been on for most of the game. And now she's sitting on Sejuani. Now, I might actually be able to have a quick peek here and see, is Sejuani the... No, I don't think Sejuani's the buddy here. Let's check on Jinx. But she isn't either. Maybe it has transitioned over to Sejuani at this point. I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I'm not seeing it pop up. The thing is now if Yuumi sits on Sejuani, when Jinx becomes the carry, there's no longer going to be that buff there as well. And there's no longer going to be that connect. And I just think the team comp and the goal for GGG, the goal that they had very clearly shown they knew how to achieve, has started to fall apart.
Yeah. GGG, again, I'll say it one more time, I'm very sympathetic with them, the way that this round has turned around, but I've seen it before and I know they can bring it back. The hostile takeover perfectly placed, but Bristle dashes at the perfect time to get away from it. Puppey teleporting in a not so perfect position, managed to get the world ender out and survive just a little bit longer, but Juko does too much damage. This Vladimir's out of control, looking to get Stewie as well, and Yumi's already made a break for it. Stewie down, Juko Glacial Prism, it isn't enough to keep him down. And now it's Bristle and Jadonis all alone. This really is an angle to end the game, as Juko is once again trying to go for the world land speed record. Yumi gets a shutdown on Out West. Jadonis may just be able to hyper carry this game if played well enough. Wow, that's I gotta say, man, that's a fight and a half.
It was a fight off. Juko falling extremely low to the tower there, but he is going to be safe. And yeah, I'm glad you were following that fight because it was a little bit all over the place for me. But in the meantime, I was able to double check on the point I was making. Yumi's buddy is Jinx. So sitting on the Sejuani, like she has been, like she is doing at the moment, she's now jumped over the Aatrox, really not doing their team any favors. And I think the second that bot lane fell apart, this game was pretty out of control for GGG, despite Puppey getting that massive lead in the top lane.
Man, Puppey, he teleported straight in the middle of a really precarious situation. I don't think the teleport that Puppey made there had helped his case much. And he needs to approach these fights more with the team. The teleport, there wasn't anywhere better to go, but even coming out in a softer position and then trying to help his team either back out or by then make a pick may have been a more responsible decision. As Puppey walks up for a ward again, fairly dangerous position to walk up to a ward for. Still sticking on the Baron right now. Wyvern's gonna try and whittle it down. Oh, okay, you're right. They are getting kind of low. West is forced to use the smite already on Puppey. World Ender comes out. Lilas managed to survive. Oh my!
Hostile takeover though.
Takeover, that's huge! There's Puppey. He's desperately looking for a heal. He can't find anything to lock onto. Almost went down to Yuumi again, but it's Juko this time. Oh, so wait, Yumi's on his team. Sorry. Juko now coming back around. Jay can't make a break for it as Juko's still pretty much unkillable. Explodes once again on Jay. Vital may be able to get the shutdown on Bristle Rider here as Stewie's going to get locked down too. It's just Yuumi all alone and an ace.
And that's the game.
Being pinged down to the Nexus. One tower looking for the Nexus. Juko runs down and that should be the game on lock. But Puppey, that's 10 seconds now whittling down. Vital doesn't do enough damage. Maybe a 5-4 Aatrox is enough to make an impact here as Juko's down to the second turret. He's respawned and he's back on the field. It's just those two. The second tower goes down. Now whether or not Puppey can make an impact here, it's gonna matter. Vital just can't get around to him. But
so close.
I reckon they could have ended there.
I think they could have as well. I mean, Juko does stupid amounts of damage. Just peel Puppey off and you're fine. I mean, I guess they'd rather take the safe bet. 3 members on the newly spawned dragon there. Gonna be nice and easy pickings for them. Yeah, it just seems like it's gonna be that way.
Juko's kind of just like soloing the team once again. Him and Vital, a little frustrated they didn't end the game before. They decided to go in 2-on-5. Now, whether or not this venture will find them profit,
Wow.
we're about to find out. The stun comes down on Juko, can't get a safe escape. The heal isn't enough, and Jay Donis is going to go down as well. No Yumi in the fight means no heals, and Lightless gets the hostile takeover here on Berserker. Puppey, oh man! Just lost out of the fight there, and that should be the Nexus for them now.
Really, really hard. And you know what? I want to give GGG credit, and as chat would say, not just crap all over them this game. They had a goal in mind. It seemed like they came into this game with a much better goal than they had in game 1 and 2. They knew what they needed to do. They attempted to execute it, and they did just fail. But I think, given in a best-of-3 series, although it was an extremely dominant game coming out from Revolt, I want to give GGG credit for the progression that they made through game 1, 2, and 3. And in a best-of-5 series, I don't know if they would take it home, but I think by game 5, they would look a lot more confident.
I think so too. Again, the pause. Oh, if only I could know what happened if the pause wasn't in the way. The shutdown being handed over. Then again, it wasn't too much gold. It was kind of 2 kills and a Rift Herald. But the Rift Herald did end up charging 3 towers and spiraling them out of control. So you can never really measure. It's always that situation of what if. Oh man, what if I just went to the scuttle fight? What if I actually tried to take down the dragon? What if I smited 3 seconds earlier? League is a whole game about what ifs. And that really was just another scenario added to the conjunction of wibbly wobbly unstableness of decision making that goes on the Rift. So look, I'm going to say it's a really unfortunate loss for Triple G, but a very respectable win for our winning team. The Wyverns, man, they've done such a good job.
Yeah, very respectable win. They had shown throughout the 3 games that they kind of knew what they needed to do. They did falter a bit in game 2. I think Atlanta got a little bit too cocky, I would say, after game 1 and the lead that he had pulled himself together on that Silas. But nonetheless, as a whole team, I think that Revolt definitely played better tonight. And, you know, when you do play better in a best-of-3 series, you usually take the best-of-3 series. So that's exactly what happened. Credit to them. Credit for GGG for playing tonight. And credit to every other team that played behind the scenes as well. Good luck to anyone else who is still in their 3rd game. But that was a very fun best-of-3 there, Quicksand. And it was a pleasure casting with you again tonight. It's been a little while. But I'm excited to see where these teams take it in the next week and the following weeks after that.
Yeah, me too. And don't forget, these teams haven't been written out just yet. After Revolt took away the... I thought I saw a mistake. I was about to say, pay out the predictions. I was about to make a bag, but I think the payout's been sent to the wrong side.
Oh, no, it has.
No.
Oh, no, it has.
There's nowhere to revert that, is there? Oh, no. I told everyone to all in, and now I'm out of money, man. Well,
Oh no.
Look, things happen. Triple G fans, it's more of a consolation prize for those guys, all right? I had 1,200 points. I had 1,002. Okay, well, that is super unfortunate. I really apologize to everyone who lost their points, me included. So don't worry, we're all in the same boat. You can work your channel points back. You know what they say. Now, when you're at rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up, guys. I'm going to leave it there. Congratulations to the Triple G fans for believing. Yeah, it certainly paid off. In the meantime, I think Puppey made a really strong attempt. The DC really hurt, but Juko really showed his proficiency as a mid laner. He played out of his mind in the 1st game and the 3rd. So even in the 2nd game, it was really unfortunate, but Juko really felt like the center here for Revolt, and it certainly paid off. Wonderful game, and there's still a way for both of these teams to progress onto the next round. But Draz, do you have any final thoughts about the game?
Final thoughts. I do want to touch on the fact that we mentioned before, GGG did win their first game, or their first best-of-3, and then Revolt lost their first best-of-3. So both teams are now sitting at 1-1. I think that both these teams are definitely decent contenders. We've seen tonight that they have their strengths and their weaknesses. But it does kind of make me question how the rest of the bracket's going to go, because we've seen, I believe, 2 teams now from this bracket. Two nights from this bracket, 4 teams from this bracket. And my thoughts, I guess, aren't really thoughts, but I'm also curiosity. I'm very interested to see what comes next.
Me too. I don't think there's much more to say. I'm curious about what comes next. I'd like to give a big shout out to MCOM I'd like to give a big shout out to Mayhem for the wonderful broadcast tonight and correcting us when we made any little mistakes. Thank you, Mayhem. I'd like to give a shout out to my landlord. Um, Seeing as that prediction didn't pay out, I will not be paying my rent this month. So hopefully some exposure will be enough. Thank you. And besides that, I hope everyone has a wonderful night. Draz, you've done a fantastic job for keeping us in the loop with your wonderful analysis. And congratulations to both the teams for putting on a wonderful show tonight. Thank you for coming, everybody. I hope that payout didn't get rid of anyone else's rent. And I hope you'll sleep tight, stay warm, have a wonderful night, and maybe get some warm milk before bed. I don't know. You guys warm milk fans? Draz? Thoughts on warm milk?
Um, Good for you. Not a huge fan myself.
Respect for that.
I'd rather cold milk. Cold milk with a little bit of cereal
Okay.
before bed. Oh, cereal's so good. Midnight snack, best thing ever.
Well, whether it's cold milk, warm milk, maybe milk with cookies. Hopefully Santa doesn't come down your chimney for a early snack. Besides that, get tucked in warm, enjoy your milk, and have a wonderful night, everybody. Thank you for coming by, and I will see you all next week on Wednesday at the same time for another wonderful, heart-gripping, death-defying, DCing, pausing, unbelievable, I've run out of synonyms match. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you all later. Have a wonderful night.
Have a good night, guys.